gentlemen, very welcome to Amsterdam for the GT World Series 2023 Showdown here. It is great to have your company. We are so looking forward to what is to come here later on this afternoon. But first of all, before we get any of the action underway for some of our professional drivers, we have got the Pro-Am race final coming up. My name is Tom Brooks. Alongside me, Jimmy Broadbent here to guide you through the action. JB, we had two semi-finals here yesterday. That's decided a 12-driver strong field for the final. What are you expecting from this?
The race yesterday were fairly chaotic, I think it's fair to say, Tom. So probably a bit more of that as well. We have narrowed the field down now to the faster teams. Of course, you can see on the screen behind us here the start list for our finalists and the starting order they're going to be taken to the race with. Pole, of course, here is for Alexander. Second place got Super GT. Third, Traction. All very close on time, so anyone's race.
Absolutely, and Lago Maggiore is the circuit the drivers are going to be competing on. It's a fictional track within GT7. I love this place. Such a nice, fast-flowing nature to it, and also provides some good overtaking opportunities.
Yeah, big sends here at Lago Maggiore. So anytime you see a big send, I want to hear a big cheer from you guys. Not just yet though, but here our competitors just getting ready right now. Quite interesting, a lot of these guys quite nervous going into this. Not used to racing in front of a live audience, in front of a crowd with us talking at the top of them, so hopefully they can keep it together.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be really, really exciting, and of course there is a bit of a competitive nature with this, especially with the pro drivers. Even though this race is a bit of fun, there are some prizes available for them, but it's going to be hugely interesting to see exactly how it all works out. So here is the grid then lined up. Here he is, Rory Alexander starting on pole position in the Mercedes AMG. Super GT lines up on the front row of the grid. His professional driver is Tomoaki Yamanaka. Then we've got Tom Harrison-Lord for Team Traction. Pixel Connect lining up next on the grid with Thomas Stulik. Then it's GT Planet's Jordan Greer lining up P5. P6 is Bradley Shankar. Let's see how he's going to fare. Kaiser for Kizil Salim lining up in P7, then Philippe Siani for CNN Philippe in P8. Then we've got Patricia Stalizan, the Dutch driver. She's got Kilian Drumont for company as her professional driver. Next up it is Daniel Dorschuk, then Pier Paolo Greco, and Joe Van Buren completing the 12-driver strong field. So, just having a look at it, it looks as though it's the professional, all the amateur drivers who are going to be starting, and the pros will be taking over later on. But 11 laps of action, a rolling start which will spread the field out a little bit here, Jimmy. But down to T1, we saw chaos in the semis yesterday.
Yeah, the first couple of corners here really lend themselves to big sends, big overtaking moments. So a little reminder, of course, each driver has to do a minimum of 5 laps. So it is split pretty much down the middle between the pro and the AM drivers. So we'll see what each can bring to the table.
Absolutely. So through in towards the final corner then here at the Autodromo Lago Maggiore for the GT World Series Showdown 2023 Pro-Am Final. Rory Alexander leads the field around. His pro driver that he has paired with is Igor Fraga, a man who's very well decorated within the GT World Series over the past couple of years. But what is going to happen when the checkered flag falls in 11 laps time? We're about to find out as the drivers come to the timing line, and the green flag will wave as we get the Pro-Am Final underway here in Amsterdam. As here he is, leads the field across the line, down towards T1, then Super GT follows. Jordan for GT Planet, they're already in the slipstream and trying to make a move on the outside for P4, but no room at the end for the drivers as they come through the first couple of corners. Looking like it's fairly even Stevens, but not unfortunately for Kieser, who's gone round and is facing in the wrong direction. Mired right down to 12th place by the end of turn 2.
That's the worst possible chance that to happen there. You're on the back foot before the race has even started, but the front of the field, here he is in Super GT. Very, very close indeed. A little bit wide there for Steve on exit. Track limit penalties are on, so you have to be careful going too wide at some of the corners here. So it's Mercedes and Porsche down into the bottom of the circuit here. Traction just about hanging on the background there, and Pixel Connect in the 4th place. Watch out for Team Pixel Connect. Thomas is a pretty quick driver himself, so not quite at the mix at the moment, but I'm sure he'll come back as the race goes on.
Yeah, they were involved in a fair bit of action yesterday, were Pixel Connect, in the 2 semi-finals that we had taking place here. So let's see whether they're going to be able to make any inroads into the podium places later on in this one. Riding on board here we are with Super GT then in the Porsche 911, and look at Rory Alexander very aggressively ducking out of the slipstream on the run down in towards the hairpin him. Ben, this is an absolutely superb part of the lap. 5th gear, braking down into 2nd. Lovely bit of camber on the inside, and look at the gap that Super GT was able to close there. He's now all over the rear spoiler of the Mercedes. He's going for the race lead in towards the final couple of corners. Flicking it left, he ducks back behind the Mercedes, back behind him he goes, and holds on for 2nd place for now, but certainly signalling his intentions coming towards the end of this first lap.
Yeah, that Mercedes is a brute in the straight line. You can see on the left screen there, Rory looking quite deep in concentration. Steve on the right at the moment, both of course fighting for that same position, dipping wheels into the grass, dust up then into the competitors behind them. But yeah, Steve was saying before this race started that if he's going to make a move, it's got to be in the corners. The Porsche hasn't quite got the legs on the Mercedes.
Well, fair bit of gaps beginning to emerge now between some of the drivers, as you can see a little bit further down. Traction there, Tom Harrison-Law behind the wheel of that machine, just sitting in 3rd place, kind of a bit in no man's land. He's not close enough to attack the top 2 in front, but fortunately for him, he's not coming under any immediate pressure from Pixel Connect behind. Let's see if we can piece together what happened down into T1. We're on board here with Patricia Stalizan. Kaiser in front then. There you go, bit of a biff, bit of a bang, and unfortunately it cost her quite dearly there as well.
That was a great move. Great move there by Patricia. That's not how you want to do it, really, to be honest. But anyway, that 2 now. Gap at the front is only still 0.4 of a second. These guys are separated by pretty much nothing at the moment. And this is where the Porsche is strong for this part of the course. Coming up through these twisty bits, it's where you can use the handling characteristics of that 911 to close in to the AMG in front. Unfortunately for traction, they've sort of fallen off the back there. Tom Harrison-Ford at the wheel of that at the moment. Partner with
look at this!
Oh, what's happened here?
This is Greco and CNN Philippe going into one another seemingly in the first part of the first few corners of the lap, and Greco then down into 10th place. Just in front of them is the Brazilian driver, and having a look up the inside of the curb. That's a very aggressive move. Can you get 2x2 through there? No, you can't, as Greco's off and into the wall and down into 12th place. Well, pick the bones out of that one, JB.
Rest in peace, Greco. He ain't going to be back. No. Oh, there's more. There's more going on. CNN Philippe is in the wars at the moment. B&R round as well. Patricia trying to come back through the field after that incident earlier on behind Shankar in front. So it's all going off here in the Pro-Am race. As we said, the most hotly anticipated race of the weekend, this Pro-Am race. And definitely not failing to supply us with a ton of action.
Look at this, side-by-side action almost in front. They're right on board we do with Kieser. And now we're going to go 3 wide down towards the right-hander. Kieser on the outside there. B&R's having a look here as well. The Dutch driver on home soil up into 8th place. There you go. And now having a look on Shankar, who's tied by side with Stalizan. There's a massive amount of contact. 2 drivers off onto the inside. Shankar loses out. Stalizan loses out. B&R up into 6th. Kieser up into 7th. It's action wherever you look.
I think there's elbows out. And they're straight out punching someone. Shankar there. Hip and shoulder for Stalizan. They've got smashed to the side of the course there. These guys are pulling no punches, but at the end of the day, it's for 6th position. They need to try and work together a bit here, I think, Tom.
Oh, Momo was into the back of Shankar there. That's left them under threat from Stalizan, who's again continuing her robust attempt at overtaking, but eventually has to concede and falls down into 10th position. Well, oh, look at that, Momo and Shankar. How on earth do you call this one? Both off on the exit of the corner, exploring track limits to the extreme. The upshot is they all managed to settle down in the first part of lap 3.
I think it's like the boxing equivalent of just flailing your arms at your opponent at this point. So many bits of contact there in the last few laps, but as you say, Tom, I think finally somewhat settled down, maybe not in the background now as Shankar goes side by side with Stalizan on the inside. We know how brutal she is there and forcing her way back by Shankar, so maybe thinking twice about that, but coming up to a long straight now. Great overtaking spot at the end of this straight, so keep an eye on these guys going through their B&R, just about defending from Kaiser. Behind in the background is more contact. We'll come away from that to look nowhere back again. Kaiser now on the inside of B&R, looking left, looking right, and now coming down to this long right hand. On the wrong line here. Will he try and go for the cutback? Not quite enough speed, no bit of contact between the two there. And that's slowing them up on exit there. B&R will keep the place for now.
So B&R then soaking up the pressure like a sponge at the moment, but Kaiser with a great amount of pace underneath him in that Toyota Supra. Let's see whether he's going to be able to launch an attack. Jan van Buren behind the wheel of that machine as they come in towards the right-hander in towards the final couple of corners on this lap. Nose to tail there running here. Nobody making any moves in the foreground. In the background there, Shankar with a worldie up the inside of Momo. Oh, look at that in the background. They're off onto the outside of the circuit.
every time we look up, someone's just flying across to the grass somewhere. So I think that was Momo in the background who got shunted off. But we'll come back to that when we know. BNR, meanwhile, I think fighting for his life there for 6th place. Started down in the background there. The contact with Kaiser, I think that was, sent him a little bit wide into the corner. Now we go into this right-hand hairpin. Bit of team radio here.
Like, stop crashing into me, Jesus.
Good advice.
What
Stop
for?
crashing into me. I like that.
If in doubt, don't take responsibility. That's what I always have to say.
That's how I do it, as well, yeah. So 6th, 7th and 8th place still close together on your screen right now. BNR leading this little trio, and that Genesis there lurking in the mirrors. I think probably one of the more scary cars to see in your mirror at the moment as we go up through this middle section once more. The race still being led by Areas, and we are coming up now to when we're going to see some pit stops.
Yeah, we are. That's when the pro drivers are going to take over, and that's when this race is going to get very, very fast indeed. Because, of course, these pro drivers want to beat one another. Stalizan there once again exploring the grass on the outside as they come through the sweeping S-bends. You can see how fast it goes through this part of the lap, up to 240 kilometres an hour as they come on towards the back straight, down in towards this hairpin bend. Is he going to jink to the inside and make a move? Well, Stalizan does. Can she get the car stopped? She runs a the bit deep. Keys are back on the inside and mugs BNR as well. Up into 6th place then. For Kaiser, absolutely brilliant opportunist driving there. The door opened and he walked straight through it.
Oh my word! Where are you going, bro? Okay, yeah, well, this is standard Prime affair, guys. It's best part of the weekend, I'm telling you.
Well, that unfortunately has removed them from contention for the time being then. Sin and Philly with a penalty there to boot as well. Still got a British 1-2-3 as we look at Stalizan once again looking to try and find her way through on the Dutch driver in front, but Mowo now ready to try and attack the two German drivers going side by side, mirror to mirror with one another. They're going to go 3 abreast almost down this start-finish straight in towards the first corner. Who's going to be last on the late breakers? BNR on the inside of Stalizan here. They're going to flick it into the right-hander though. Mowo there, up ahead of Stalizan now as well.
Stalizan did well, they not to actually have contact with Mowo. Just thought I had to get on the brakes right at the end of the apex there. But yeah, I think for now, they've calmed down. No, they haven't. Lunge to the inside once again, very late. Keep doing that, you're going to tag the rear of the car in front. They're going to spin. Meanwhile, 2x2, rubbing mirrors in front. Murrah and BNR coming down to the right-hander. BNR on the inside line, though. Here comes Stalizan as well, taking a place away from Mowo. These guys are just changing positions every corner. Look to the inside, though. Mowo's still there. They're side by side going up the hill. It's almost 3 wide. There probably is 3 wide now. Coming to the corner. Is anyone going to blink? No, the outside, a little bit of contact as well. It's all over the place at the moment.
This is absolutely chaotic. We're only on lap 5. We've not even got to half race distance yet. And Stalizan picking up a half-second penalty there to boot as well. So that's going to drop her down a little bit when she comes in towards the penalty zone. In the meantime, she's side by side with Mowo here. And in turn, the slipstream is coming into effect because they're going to go 3 abreast down in towards the hairpin bend. Who's going to be last of the late breakers? Stalizan on the inside on the exit of the corner. Kaiser's off as well. Drama here on lap 5, and we haven't even had the pro drivers in yet.
I think some of these drivers will get me out of here. I don't want to be racing anymore. But into the pits come our 2 leaders. So Igor Fraga getting in for Team Areas, and Will, who's getting on? Sorry, Yamanaka, getting in for Team Super GT. So pro driver versus pro driver now. Traction in, pistol connecting. Pretty much what we expected at this point.
Let's go and chat to Rory Alexander, who was leading that race. You've just had Igor Fraga take over from you, Rory. You look exhausted.
I had Super GT behind me for the last 5 laps, and I have to keep it in some sort of check for Igor. But I mean, there's no better hands to have it in now, right?
How was that stint for you? You were soaking up the pressure really, really well there.
Yeah, having Steve in my rear view is not ideal. I can classify him as a real race driver now, so yeah, I'm going to use that card. No, but I'm just super happy that I didn't bottle it and brought it home, and now he can hopefully. I'm not going to say it, I don't want to jinx it.
Rory, thanks very much. Good luck.
Thanks, mate.
Lovely. Right, so Rory Alexander's team now with Igor Fraga at the helm, who's now 0.6 of a second in front of Tomoaki Yamanaka, who's taken over from Super GT.
Yeah, so it's getting pretty rabid out there at the moment, but now, of course, we've got our pro drivers in, and this is where it starts getting a bit serious for these guys. Of course, for these guys and the pro drivers, it's a matter of honour. You want to be the winning driver here at the moment, but interestingly, Super GT picking up Team Super GT picking up a 0.5 second penalty for track limit, so already out there trying to push to the limit.
Yeah, Yamanaka there just exploring the track limits and going a step too far. Let's have a chat with Tom Harrison, Lord Tom, and Team Traction are in third place at the moment. Tom, talk us through that stint. You were kind of sort of sat there in third, looking quite comfortable because you didn't have anybody immediately in front and nobody immediately behind.
Yeah, unfortunately quite boring for the viewers and your commentators yourselves, but that was the plan. Keep it safe, keep it tidy, and hand it over to Will, who's the legend. Yesterday I said he would win it, he didn't, so he's going to try and do that today, although I gave him an 8-second deficit, unfortunately.
It's not unachievable, though, given some of the deficits that the lads were catching up in the Manufacturers' Cup here.
Okay, good point. I'll take you to that. We can still do it. Let's go.
Optimism to the extreme, then. Cheers, Tom. Much appreciated.
In the background here, Tommy got Kaiser and Stalizan now going side by side again. These teams have been pretty much glued together the entire race. Now going back up the hill, looking to the inside, on board with the Genesis now. Not quite enough speed to get by there, touching the curb, trying to get the undercut here to the right-hand side. Contact with the back of the car in front. A little bit of correction there from Killian Drumont, of course, behind the wheel of this car now into the long right-hander in front. And these drivers have got a lot to do. There's a big gap now between the 6th place and the P5, about 14 seconds, so I'm not sure if that's going to be recoverable or not. Team Kaiser, big sideways moment up the inside goes Team Salazar in the background as well. Momo there looking to capitalise. Wide gets pushed Kaiser, and both cars up past the British team.
Yeah, Thomas England now behind the wheel of the Mowo machine. Behind the wheel of Kaiser is Guy Barbara, the New Zealand driver. They're 3 abreast down towards the first corner. Guy Barbara with a massive send there and up into 7th place. On the outside and getting shuffled out then is Thomas England, and Salazan's car now being piloted by Killian Drumont, the Frenchman. You know, if you've got Killian Drumont behind the wheel, that you're in the pound seats as far as you're concerned, but when you're mired in the pack like this, it's not an easy thing to do to make that breakaway. But Salazan's machine, that Genesis, he's now trying his absolute hardest to do so, but look at how close these drivers are, and this is just the level of competition we have here with our professional GT competitors as they come in towards the right-hander. We're 3 abreast here with Barbara on the inside of Drumont. Mangano's in the mix there as well in Greco's machine. Well, this is action stations wherever you look, as Guy Barbara up the inside of Giorgio Mangano. So they go through and make that position, or do they? Trying to, but not quite able to, holding back into 9th place for now.
I think that's 6 cars, 7 cars in the same picture here. Tom there side by side in the background. Happy for the entire race. Greco and Kaiser bumping doors in the way there. Would it be 3 wide in the background? Nissan 4 wide in the background now, coming down towards the right-hander at the bottom. Who's going to come out of this one alive? Stands down on the inside there, takes the extreme inside up to P7. Contact there between Philippe and that. Greco as well, somehow all coming out in one piece there. No idea how they managed that. And they're still 3 wide, surely not through here. They're still going, Tom.
Look at Adriano Carrazza in the Porsche. He's got himself right into the party here as well. He's looking to the inside of Killian Drumont. Can he make the move stick into the right-hander? No, because Guy Barbara's in the mix. Guy Barbara's now back down to 11th place in the space of 1 corner. It is door-to-door action. Wherever you look here, it's lap 8. There's still plenty of opportunity for things to change, but I have to say I'm super impressed with the driving standards. 4 wide down in towards that hairpin. How on earth all of these drivers were able to continue facing in the right direction on the entry, and indeed the exit of that corner is nothing short of incredible. Let's go down the start-finish straight. Who's going to make the moves here then? Mowo in the mix there. Oh, there we go. It was always going to come off wrong, and Florian Zimmerman goes down.
As soon as you mentioned driving standards, I knew straight away what was going to happen, mate. That's how it goes here. But yeah, Greco's still there. Salazar, of course, is the winner there up into P6. There's actually 5 cars ahead of this, but I don't think anyone cares at the moment. The battle of this is amazing.
This is absolutely superb then. So, side by side we are in the front there with Kaiser. On the outside of them is Giorgio Mangano. In towards the right-hander we go, as Carrazza has a half look there up the inside, wants to get himself involved in the party. In the background, Thomas England in the Mowo run at Nissan GTR, trying to get himself in the action. There's contact there.
Oh, my word.
And Guy Barbara goes down the order as a result of that, and he gets mired out of the pack here.
Every lap, someone else gets sent to the shadow round, doesn't it? And so every lap, someone else is just gone, never to return. But guess what? They're still at it. They're bumping door handles through the chicane here. It's flat out for that section. Porsche just about managed to gather that back up there. That was Karatsa in the background there. Meanwhile, Greco and Mowo still together as we come down into this roller coaster right-hander. Great view here back from the car of Team Shankar, Ethan Lim there at the wheel at the moment. But these guys are going at it like it's the last lap of the finals. It is the last lap of the finals. It is. A couple of laps to go.
Yeah, this is phenomenal. Oh, and Thomas England goes off onto the grass there. Mangano having a look on the outside of Lim here as well. Now switches back to the inside. Textbook switchback move. Makes it stick up into 7th place. Or does he? There's a bit of contact, bit of hip and shoulder. And now Mowo and Thomas England are back into it and launching their attack on Shankar's car then. In towards the left-hander we go. Keep an eye out for Adriano Karatsa, who was at the front of this group just a lap and a half ago. He's right now back down into 10th place. But you know that if anyone's going to make a move, it's going to be Adriano Karatsa. And look at that, pulling out of the slipstream down towards the first corner. No, not close enough at the moment.
Whoever did the balancing for these cars probably got a big smile on their face right now. They're completely glued together. A little bit, oversteer there for Shankar and exit. Cuts back across very aggressively. Somehow manages not to get taken around there by Greco in the background. These guys, no holds barred here at Lago Maggiore for the final of the Pro-Am event here. And again on the grass, all sliding across, they're bumping as they go down the hill. Laughter from the other pro drivers here. 0.5-second penalty for Mowo, I think, there for track limits, although unintentional, after getting shoved off there wide. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars in your frame at the moment as we go up towards the middle sector once more. And here's the view back from the Genesis. Look at that!
3 abreast down towards those couple of corners. You don't make that stick, but somehow they've managed to do so. On board we ride here with Kylian Drummond. He's going to be grinning like a Cheshire cat because he can just keep an eye on his rear view at the moment and see the chaos that is unfolding behind him. Here we go then with Mangano looking to the inside of Ethan Lim. Popping out of the slipstream there is Kaiser as well. That's Guy Barbara. No contact. Karatsa's off. The Mercedes is off as well. Mangano and Karatsa down to the bottom of the pile.
Bowling, mate. It's insane. So, yeah, yet another quite large incident here in the Pro-Am race. Again, this all started when you mentioned driving standards. It was completely fine until then.
I don't want to say I've got a commentator's curse, but I'm not saying anything now, just to tempt fate. All right, JB. At the front, meanwhile, Igor Fraga doing exactly what Igor Fraga does. He's romping away with this, some 3.7 seconds over Tomoaki Yamanaka, but still the hottest battle on track is this one here. Oh, look at this. Up the inside, then goes Guy Barbara looking for a move. Did he manage to make it stick? The Kiwi, not quite sure. Meanwhile, here is your race leader, Igor Fraga. Comfortable advantage he now has over Tomoaki Yamanaka in 2nd place. Will Murdoch, 3rd position he is, trying to close that deficit down. Got it down to about 5 or so seconds, but it's going to be a bit of a day later, dollar short.
I mean, I'd much rather watch a car on its own, guys. Come on, let's have a look at this battle. It's still going on behind. Mowo, the B&R losing positions in the background as well, but of course, Team here he is with Igor Fraga at the wheel, as we said before, about 3-4 seconds ahead of the team at Super GT, and it seems that Yamanaka doesn't quite have the pace to match Fraga at the moment. So a lap and a half left for our leaders, but I want to see what's going on in that mid-pack. It's still going on.
Yeah, it certainly is. This has been an absolutely fantastic race. There's still just over a lap or so to go now here in this one, and Igor Fraga, who's leading this charge, has got a comfortable advantage in his pocket, but look at it in the background there. This is Kylian Drummond in 6th place. Behind him, you've got Ethan Lim, Adriano Karatsa, and you had a couple of other drivers who were involved, but are now not, because they've been sent off into the shadow realm.
I just saw Mowo there going backwards into that corner, which is not the strat, but let's see if they can all survive down here this time. So it's penultimate time down the hill there, long slipstream at Karatsa up into 7th there in the Porsche. Behind, they're all squabbling. B&R lose a couple of places. Greco up to P7. In the background, a GTR sideways in the gravel. Just about managed to see the end of that. And, well, yeah, I don't really know what happened there. The positions have changed once again, Tom.
No, let's have a look and see if we can piece it together then. So we're on board here with Kaiser then. Behind the wheel of that car at the moment is Guy Barbara. It's all going to kick off in front. Then you've got Greco, you've got Shankar's car. Yeah, unfortunately, there's not enough room for 4 cars going into that corner, as it seems.
That's a 10 out of 10. That's a 10 out of 10. That's a good one. That's a good one there.
Team radio.
C'è che merda. Non Non è possibile. Non è possibile. Come prima. Non è possibile.
I agree.
How's your Italian?
I agree. Yeah. Why have they said that?
Unless it's ordering a pizza, I've got no idea, to be honest with you. The upshot is that it's Giorgio Mangano now at the very back of the field. The gap has begun to spread out ever so slightly here between our pro drivers. Kylian Drumont still sitting in sixth position in the Genesis at the moment. That's probably as best as he can hope for. We are now on the final lap of the Pro-Am final here. Igor Fraga leading from Tomoaki Yamanaka, from Will Murdoch, from Paul Ura, Randall Hayward, Kylian Drumont, Adriano Carrazza, Guy Barbara, Thomas England, Florian Simmerman, Ethan Lim and Giorgio Mangano. That is how your order sits, and down in towards the final couple of corners. It's been an exhibition for Alexander and Fraga here.
Yeah, nice and easy up the hill now for the last time. Team Traction there, of course, in third place. Team Super GT, then of course of Steve Brown and Tomoaki Yamanaka in second at the moment. Only a few more corners though separating them from victory in the most prestigious event of the weekend, the Pro-Am event final here. And only a few more corners to go for our leader.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant display from Rory Alexander and from Igor Fraga. Rory started this race and controlled the pace out in front despite having Super GT breathing down his neck throughout the entirety of it. Super GT will be probably a little bit disappointed with second place, but no disappointment for Rory Alexander and for Igor Fraga out of the final corner and across the line to win the Pro-Am final at the GT World Series Showdown in Amsterdam. Super GT and Tomoaki Yamanaka come home in third. Tom Harrison-Lord and Will Murdoch for Team Traction over the line at the end of the podium as well, ahead of Pixel Connect and Paul Ura in fourth place, ahead of GT Planet's Jordan Greer and Randall Hayward. Then you've got Patricia Stalinzan and Kylian Drumont in P6.
Give it a second though, mate. They're not here yet.
I was going to say, yeah, they're quite a way down, aren't they? It could all be set to change because we know how it does.
Here they come. Here come the battle of the last corner. Stalinzan sixth in the background is Kaiser seventh. Mowo in P8 just about holding on. Do they to the line? Ah, yes, only just there. From CNN Philippe, Artem, Shankar 11th and Greco rounding off the field in P12.
Well, that was absolutely fantastic. What a Pro-Am race we've had here. Jimmy, you're going to go and chat to the winners in just a couple of moments' time. I'm going to make my way up to the desk as we get ready for the podium because, of course, there are going to be some prizes for our top three finishing teams in that race. So, Jimmy, let's head down to you in a couple of moments and see what the drivers have got to say. Just give us a shout whenever you're ready and we'll catch up with our race winners in that one. What a fantastic performance from Rory Alexander and from Igor Fraga. They had the pressure on them throughout the entirety of that race and somehow they were able to deliver, and Igor Fraga in particular pulling out quite a comfortable margin. Jimmy, down to you.
Yes, Tom, I've got our winners here, of course, Rory and Igor Fraga. Guys, a round of applause for our winners here of the Pro-Am event. Rory, mate, we'll come to you first. You were telling me how nervous you were for this before the weekend started. How are you feeling now?
I'm relieved. This is my Nations Cup. This will never happen again. I'm never going to be in this for real. So this is the closest I'll get. So yeah, relieved, to be honest.
How did you feel racing directly against Steve? I'm sure you guys have raced before in the past. Must have been interesting doing it here on the stage as well.
This is probably the only time I've ever beaten him. So you know, I've got no illusion that he's the better driver than me. I was just lucky on the day, and yeah, just give it to this guy, and then that's that.
Yeah. Igor, mate, as well, of course, partnering up with Rory. You've been at like a billion of these events, so you know how these things work by now. How do you think Rory did there, first time driving on the stage?
He did really well. I think also from the practices from yesterday and also from the qualifying races, he improved a lot. So his pace was like super consistent here. He did like the best, stint that he could. So yeah, he did great.
Are you aware of the carnage that was going on behind you? Because every corner, someone else gone. It was insane. Did you have any idea of that when you're driving? Because you were out front by a fair way.
Yeah, so when I was driving, I was like sort of trying to focus myself. But when I was watching Rory driving, and then I was watching all the carnage there, I was like, okay, lucky we already got away. So yeah, good for us.
Well, guys, thank you so much. Again, our winners, guys, of the Pro-Am event, Rory Alexander and Igor Fraga.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed, Jimmy. Some race results then from the Pro-Am final. It's Team Here He Is, Rory Alexander and Igor Fraga who take the victory ahead of Super GT and Tomoaki Yamanaka. Third place on the podium, Tom Harrison, Lord and Will Murdoch. Great performance from them ahead of Pixel Connect, GT Planet, Patricia Salazan, Kaiser, Mowo, CNN Philippe, BNR, Shankar and Greco completing the field. Here are some highlights from that chaotic race. It only took a couple of corners for it all to kick off. Salazan into the back of Kaiser, and that caused them both to fall down the order. CNN Philippe with a worldie of ascend here on Greco in the opening stages. They managed to go off to the outside of the track and thankfully managed to keep it facing in the right direction. That wasn't all that we saw for them. And, well, this was just a taste of some of the chaos in the opening few laps here, JB.
Yeah, it was kind of like this for the entire race, really, wasn't it? Everyone very much going the elbows out affair. Say elbows out, more just a full fist fight. And here's another example of that. Shankar getting involved. A lot of the cars doing quite well to save big moments. That battle for 6th, 8th, 7th around there was just amazing. The entire race, they were all just glued together.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see some of the action that took place here. Stalazan on the inside with a great cutback. Unfortunately, Kaiser losing out there. BNR had to get out of the throttle, which cost them a bit of time here too. And this was a driver change over at the race leaders rig, with Igor Fraga taking over at the helm, and here was some more chaos as well with Kaiser. I think they ended up facing backwards more than they did forwards in that one.
This is the thing with these races, I don't really know what lap it was, because every lap was like this. Down here again, another one on lap 9. Greco getting shot firmly into the corner pocket there, and managed to catch up once more, and there is Patricia's reaction of yet another big shunt.
Yeah, exactly. This is when the pro drivers were all behind the wheel of the cars, and unfortunately, despite being professionals, they couldn't all keep it out of the gravel, could they? Anyway, around the final corner, a dominating race for Rory Alexander and for Igor Fraga. Team Here He Is taking the win in the Pro-Am final here in Amsterdam by a comfortable margin over the rest of the field. A perfect performance from the likes of Igor Fraga and Rory Alexander. That is exactly what we like to see. I mean, it kept us pretty entertained, I'll say that much.
Definitely. Also good practice for Igor for a bit later on. Right? So hopefully not quite to the standard of racing we saw there, but always entertaining the Pro-Am race. Definitely one of my favourites to watch and to commentate on. Hopefully our audience enjoyed it as well.
See, I'd normally ask you for your highlights at this particular point, what you thought of that one, but I mean, there was so much going on, I don't know if you're going to be able to pick it.
I think just play the race back. That's a highlight. The race is the highlight. No need to cut it down. It's fine as it is.
Yeah, absolutely. It was pretty incredible. Let's get ready then, shall we, for the podium ceremony for our top 3 finishers. Prizes on offer for the top 3 teams here in this one as they get ready to make their way on to the top 3 steps. And third place then, here for the Pro-Am final for the GT World Series, it is Team Traction, Thomas Harrison Lord and Will Murdoch. Second place in the Pro-Am final here for Team Super GT, Steve Alvarez Brown and Tomoaki Yamanaka. And the winners of the Pro-Am final here in Amsterdam, Team Here He Is, give it up for Rory Alexander and Igor Fraga. A huge congratulations to our top 3 finishers. Now time for the trophies and the prizes to be presented by Ken Chan, the Global Brand Manager for Sony Interactive Entertainment. The third place pairing of Tom Harrison Lord and Will Murdoch will receive a special Gran Turismo 24 Hours of Nürburgring jacket. In fact, all 6 drivers are going to be able to get one of those, thanks to Ken.
Is there one between them? Or?
Oh, no, I lost mine a few years ago. I might see if I can tap him up for that. Second place podium finishers then of Steve Brown and Tomoaki Yamanaka. They receive a brand new Fanatec wheel and pedal set here for their efforts. Great job from the top 2 finishers. And now for the first place award being presented to our winners of Rory Alexander and Igor Fraga. They receive a PlayStation 2 VR headset and sense controller, which is fantastic in Gran Turismo 7 if you haven't tried it yet. Well, a huge congratulations to our top 3 finishers here in the Pro-Am final in Amsterdam. Thank you very much indeed for your company. Thank you for joining us. It's Igor Fraga and Rory Alexander who take the win. Super GT and Tomoaki Yamanaka in second. Thomas Harrison Lord and Will Murdoch in third place. What a fantastic Pro-Am final we've had here in Amsterdam.